Un gran abrazo, great big hug, family. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm so excited. Tonight we have a special guest, somebody that I've looked up to for many years, somebody that is an amazing musician, an amazing drummer, but most of all, an amazing human being. I've been following him for quite a while, and I just, love many things about his life. He's a family man. He's somebody that is very impactful to many people, who inspires in many ways. And so I'm very excited for tonight's podcast. Thank you to everybody who is on. Don't forget to comment any questions you guys might have. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to comment right now. There's a comment. Ezekiel is here. Hola, Ezequiel, ¿cómo estás? Comenten todos, start commenting, and share this link. Leave your like, and don't forget to subscribe. But without any further ado, let me introduce a special guest. I'm very excited to have with us tonight somebody who has been a personal inspiration to me, and I know for a fact has been an inspiration to many musicians and drummers all over the world. I just want to introduce today and give a warm welcome to Rex Hardy Jr. How you doing today, my bro?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm good. Man, it's been a crazy 2 weeks. I just literally got through COVID, man. I was positive for 2 weeks, and I tested negative, thankfully, on this past Friday. So, man, it was tough, but thank God we got through it, man. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad you're good. That unfortunately is taking a lot of people out of here, man.
Man.
It's real unfortunate, but I'm glad you was able to, kick it and move on, man.
Thank God, man. Yeah, my wife and my son right now actually have it, but thankfully it's light. They're not having any kind of bad, symptoms. They're just pushing through it, man. How have you and your family been? Have you guys been safe this whole time?
Yeah, man. Thankfully, we've had people that have been close to us, kind of take some losses, but for the most overall, we've been fairly good.
That's good.
I'm terrified right now to even
Yeah.
And it don't even really matter where you go, what you do, because you got some people that hang out around other people all day and they never catch anything.
Right.
Asymptomatic, something like that. But
yeah,
you got people who just go to the grocery store and back home, and they end up getting it. You know what I mean? But we've been safe, man. Thank God.
I'm glad. You have 2 kids, right? You have a son and a daughter, and your wife, right?
Yep, I got a wife. My wife Tiffany. My son is Rexel the third, but we call him Trey. And then Rain, Lene.
Man, they're so cute. I've been following you for a while, and I love your posts with your kids, man. They're definitely beautiful kids.
Oh man, they're definitely some characters.
Yeah, man. I love when you were posting the other day. You've been having to go through a school at home and the logging in and everything in the mornings.
And I'm I'm the parent, because my wife, she actually works for the city.
Oh wow!
When I'm home, I'm the parent, that wakes them up to get them ready for school. So it's like that was a different type of day because I could drop them off and then
right,
come back or go to the studio, whatever I have to do. Now I'm just sitting there like on teacher's aid, basically. So,
yeah.
But we all. I mean, hey, that's mild suffering for something.
Right.
Something going through. So man, I'm good.
Man, it's crazy. I mean, my son is 2. I haven't had to go through all the school yet. He's going to be in school in a few years, but man, I'm sure it's crazy. I'm sure it's crazy having to deal with all that.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but I mean, you get used to it. You try to laugh your way through some of the stuff. You know what I'm saying?
But, right.
I guess the people will figure it out some way or another.
Right, man. I'm just thankful to you're a family man. I'm sure you've got so much going on, but thank you again for this time, for sharing with us here on my YouTube channel. I'm actually gonna text you the link right now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I just sent it to you, man, and just appreciate you. I know everybody that's out there. Thank you so much. Don't forget to comment any questions you guys might have. And yeah, man, this is gonna be an exciting time, an exciting hour. So man, let's get into it, brother. I'm very excited to have you on because you've been definitely one of the inspirations. I'm a drummer as well, and one of the things that I definitely just loved about your drumming is how musical you are with it, how just the way you play is very vibey, very musical. And I just wanted to ask, where's your background? How'd you get to where you're at today? How'd you start out? What things that maybe you experienced brought you to where you are today as a man and as a drummer?
Well, I started out in a church,
Oh,
for sure.
wow.
So my great grandmother at the time, she was a pastor. Um, Her son, of course, which is my grandfather, he became pastor. And in '96, when he passed, my mom was the assistant pastor at the time,
Wow.
and she took over. So, I mean, outside of that, like my father, he was heavy into music. Like he had a music group, the Hardy Brothers, actually. So I would like tag along with them and try to play. Um, I had an uncle that played. His name was Donnell. He played with them. So it's like, I would find ways to kind of sneak in and play for them. Like he'll just say he got to go to the bathroom or something. Hop on as a shorty, and play the song real quick. But that's kind of how it started. And music runs in our family. My mom, she used to play drums, supposedly. I got a few videos, I think, and some pictures, but the music is in my blood, man.
Right.
Now, how I gravitated towards drums, I don't really know. I think it really like chose me. It was like I almost had no choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because a lot of kids start off sitting by the drums and that whole week. A lot of us have that story coming up, especially as gospel musicians. But for me, I think it took a turn for sure when I got to high school because I'm like, I really like to play basketball, and I was actually really good. But it's like I'm never going to the league. I'm not that player. But I'm
Right.
like, let me really, lock in on, my musical ability. So that's really where the term came, like high school, to where I knew I wanted to be a professional.
Man, I know that for sure. One thing that amazed me was when you were a kid, you were in a commercial with Michael Jordan, right? I know you shared that once, and I was like, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I was into acting and everything. Like it's funny, I tell people the story, and I mean, that's nothing to even lie about. But I tell people all the time, when I was younger, my parents had me into like just random commercials, or I was like that kid. That kid that the parent took around auditions and all that. So I end up getting the part of Bud from the Cosby Show,
Right.
and we were all going to New York. Well, me and my parents at that particular time, and it was a snowstorm that night.
Wow.
So I don't know if it was like a final audition type situation. I don't know what it was. I know it was a snowstorm to go from here to New York, and we couldn't go. So that shut that down. I was a shorty, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
after that, I don't think I did any more commercial. I just was like, nah, that's not the move.
It's like as if God kind of, works his ways to where he'll kind of block what's not for you, even though, you could have made it over there in that area. But, he kind of just made sure to adjust your path to get you to where you are today, pretty much.
Oh yeah, definitely where I'm supposed to be. So I'm grateful for that.
Exactly. Man. But you grew up in church, family full of musicians, family full of ministers, and man, as you just took it seriously in high school, what were the things that made you kind of take your drumming to a professional level? Because I mean, there's crazy drummers all over the place, but what to you is the difference between just a really good drummer and one that just has the pro in him and takes his musicianship and his drumming to a professional level?
Um, for me, I know it was like I'm really keen, and I really keen in on the respect I had for the people before me, and that's really how I got to where I am. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh man, I'll make it." Like you don't need nobody. Nah, we all need somebody. You know what I'm saying? It could be like anybody, manager, a dancer, anybody, and they can be like, okay, that's the guy y'all need to use. You know what I mean? But for
Right.
me, I just think like I knew that's what I wanted to do. So what I started doing was following the right people and taking the right steps to get there. You know what I mean? So if I saw a drummer um, that came up before, you know, that was in the game already, I would look at him to see what he's doing that makes him a professional.
Right.
The only thing that separates a so-called professional and an amateur is the things a professional does to be a professional, and the thing the amateur doesn't do to become a professional. It has
Right.
nothing
Right.
to do with the actual skill, because you have some people that are professional drummers there, and they aren't really good in
Yeah.
some opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. You know, but it's once I like tried to take on the stuff that I was learning from them, and I think at that point I kind of started seeing my musical growth change because I really started to take it serious. Like I only practiced what I knew would get me to a professional level. I didn't practice a lot of, you know, BS. I didn't practice. No, I practiced really. If I knew we had to play with a click track, I would practice with a click track for hours. I mean, hours, 5, 6 hours a day at one point. And and then once I knew I started mastering those things that professionals had mastered, then I knew I was good.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And you got into reading and all that later once you were already in the game, or from the beginning stages of where you're trying to pursue that professional career?
Into what? It, when I,
Into reading
oh,
music and all that.
well, it's funny. Reading, I actually started out. I think I first started learning how to read music when I was maybe 12. No, it was
Wow.
younger. It was like 8. I'm tripping. It was like 8 or 9. But what
Wow.
it is, they made us take piano lessons.
Okay.
My family was real heavy on that. Everybody took piano lessons. So we took piano lessons, and then from there, I would go on the back and take drum lessons. But they did kind of the teaching of the left, right, left. And I was just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I want to play. Like, I don't want to play this snare drum. I don't like, I want to. So we kind of went through that phase, and then I just kind of left that part alone. Then I went to high school, and I had to know how to read to get in advanced band as a freshman. So when I came in as a freshman, I jumped straight to advanced band. So I've always had like the reading bug in me, but a lot of the gigs that I was doing at the time didn't call for it, you know,
Right. Okay.
at that particular time. But as things progress, you know, you had American Idol, you had Ray Chu, who was using me for a lot of stuff. Ricky Minor, I was sub for Teddy Campbell a lot. So when it came to that, like your reading chops, they have to be, you don't have to be a perfect reader, but you have to be pretty good because there's so much music.
Right. 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 And I mean, do you when you're in a reading situation? Is there a point where you kind of memorize the song to a point where you don't have to read, but also where's the room for improv or adding your own feel to a track that you have the sheet music for? Is there room for that?
That's a funny question. Ever actually, but what I came to realize when I started doing gigs where I was reading so much, like with American Idol, we never did a song without reading. Never. Like we made okay. So to answer your question, for instance, in American Idol, you had a lot of times where we were up in the pit. Like this was a upstage pit, so it was we were behind like a wall. So back there, of course, we all got like electronic charts or paper charts or whatever we was using at the time. Um, but sometimes they would bring me down on stage with artists, you know, the contestant or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So when I come down there, we couldn't have music stands down there. But
Okay.
just being up there and reading everything. So what we started doing was the bass player Artie. Now he would memorize the songs that he played on stage, but me, because I had switched off the mode of learning songs and just reading them, it was really hard for me to comprehend. It was weird. It was like the song would only be like a minute and 45 seconds, and it would be so hard for me to really remember what's next.
Right. Right.
You know, I've made my notes, and it's so many songs. So they start running into each other. But to make a long story short, I started having them print out little baby charts. They were like a quarter, and I would sometimes tape them on my bass drum or
Wow.
there or somewhere where I could see it where it wouldn't pick up heavy on camera or nothing.
Right. Right.
So I would be playing a song, but every now and then I would glance down to make sure I'm lined up because that's live. And if you get caught up into whatever you got happening, it's nah, it wouldn't be good. So, and to add to the back of your question, I'm sorry, after I finished Idol, it really became hard for me to learn songs without reading. So like when I went back to Mary at a particular time right after Idol, it was really hard to learn songs because I wasn't used to listening to them. I was used to reading them.
Right.
So that took me, and I called Teddy like, "Dog, is this for real?" He was like, "Yeah, man, you got to train your mind to like now. I'm back to this situation." So that took me a while. That took me a
Right.
long.
Now I know that the Mary gig has been, probably one of your longest, one of your main ones, but you've played all over the place. What have been some experiences that have, just impacted you and made you grow as a musician, being on tour, whether it be, on or off stage? Have there been things that have been crazy that you've experienced that, I don't know, maybe a bad backline experience or something crazy where you've missed a flight? Is there anything that has been crazy that has impacted your career in any way?
It was a, it's been a few. I've been doing this for a long time. It's been a
Yeah,
few.
man.
Um, I know one starting off. This is like in the early days. I was playing with artist Dave Hollister. He was
Okay.
with Blackstreet. Like that's my brother, man. I really rocks with Dave. But this was like 2001, maybe
Wow.
2002. It was like 2002.
Jeez.
So whatever was going on with this tour, it just wasn't right. Like from the promoters to the managers, it just wasn't good. So anyway, something happened. We all came home from the tour. So they called us like we didn't know if we was gonna do the upcoming shows. So they called us like, man, we got a show in Houston. So the people I was the music director, but the people, all the whole band was from Chicago. So they didn't call us until the day of the show. I was like, yo, your flight leaves at 2 o'clock. But by this,
What?
matter of fact, no, it was a little later. They was like, your flight leaves at like 4 o'clock. By this time, it's like 1 o'clock. I'm like, I'm over my cousin's house. I remember this house. We playing ball, like we chilling. Like,
Yeah.
and we were going to Houston. I was like, yo, I don't think I'm gonna make this flight. I'm like,
Right.
fine. I rush home. I get to the airport. Literally, the other two musicians from here that want to gig, they just made the flight. When I got there, they were closing the door.
Are you serious?
They were closing the door, and I'm like, sir, like I have to get on this plane. Like, and back then I was running this machine called the 1680 by Roland. It's like a hard disk track recorder, and his whole show was in that machine.
Wow.
I had the. I'm like, and this is the day of show. This ain't the day before. Like we go on when we land.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
like, so I'm like, yo, I called them like it wasn't my fault. I was like, dog, I tried to get here. Anyway, they got me on the next flight. My flight landed basically when it was time for him to go up. So
Jeez.
just think about it. He's supposed to go on stage, just say at that time, 7:30. My flight landed at like 7:35.
Wow.
So they set it up. They had a police escort meet me at the. I didn't have any bags at that point. Like, matter of
Right.
fact, I did have a bag, but I left it at the airport. I just left it at the airport.
Jeez.
So, they
Did you ever
had.
get that bag back?
Oh, I got it. They brought it to the hotel.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So, man, we rushed it. Like, it's literally like a police escort. I don't know how much they paid for this, but they took me from
Wow.
to the venue, and I walk in. I lie to you not. This is on my kids. I walk in, and it was. I don't know if you've been to. I forgot the name of the venue in Houston, but the stage is in the middle.
Ooh.
Stage is in the middle, and the seats are around the stage. Like, and I
Right.
can't. I love playing there, but I can't remember the name of it. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
I walk in with the. I think I had the machine and maybe my book bag or something. Somebody yelled, "There he is!" It's like there he, because you had to run the crowd to get
Right.
and nobody is no music happening, nothing's going on.
Are you serious?
Waiting for not necessarily me, but the drummer to get there.
Right, right.
So I walk in. So they was like, there he is. They start clapping initially, then they start booing.
Wow.
I was like, God. So I hurry up and set up or whatever.
You had to plug in and everything.
Yeah, man, we killed the show, and this one guy came. He was an older guy. He was like, "Man, I hated you for making this night what it was, me and my wife. But the way you played them drums, I could take it. I could take it." So that was years I'll never forget, man. It's been a lot of them.
Right, right. Now, did that kind of make you learn your lesson to where you really watch what people you say yes to as far as, tours and gigs? Or are you the type of person that is like, if it's an opportunity that comes, I'm taking it? Or you kind of watch who you say yes to nowadays?
Well, that was I would say. Well, for sure, that situation taught me a lot about how to work and who to work with. You know what I mean? And it
Right.
wasn't artists because me and Dave, that's my brother. I love him to death.
Yeah.
But the management was so bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It had nothing even to do with us because we was kids out there. You know what I mean? Like, we were kids. So
Right.
we were just happy to be on. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Right.
but it definitely taught me how to handle business and, to be real, I guess to be sensitive to each artist's needs. And if you can't, give them what you think they deserve or what you're willing to give them, then no, I won't even take the gig.
Man,
Even doing
that's
that.
for sure. That's 100% sure, man.
Yeah.
Man, I just want to take a second to say hello to everybody who's on right now on this live stream. Thank you to everybody that's logged on. Gracias a todos los que están aquí. I know a lot of my viewers are Spanish-speaking viewers, but I'm going to be, adding Spanish subtitles after this video has gone live. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for just taking the time to watch this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave your comment below. I know that there's several people I'm going to get to that have commented already. Thank you to everybody. Don't forget to like and share this video. We're going to be very soon adding the Spanish subtitles. Don't forget that. Todos mis hispanos les voy a estar agregando subtítulos en español. Kitty Harris, I know that she knows you because she says, "Hey, friend, love the hat."
Yeah, we've been arguing since high school.
Wow. Corey Johnson, yes, bro. Yeah, bro.
What's
Man,
good?
thank you. Thank you guys for being here. Ezekiel, saludos desde Argentina. We got some viewers from Argentina on. We've
Nice.
got a couple people from Boston, Massachusetts. We've got people from, okay, this is a question in Spanish. I'm going to translate it. Or no, not a question. This is just saying, hey, sorry, I didn't read it first. Osman Ochoa Cordero. Thank you, Osman, for being here. Gracias por estar. Rex, man, thank you for being here. I know that we've got people from all over. I've in this channel that I've got some of my main people or main countries where people watch is South America. So a lot of people in Argentina, a lot of people in Guatemala, Mexico. When you look at the analytics and it tells you your top countries, those are the countries. Colombia, where I'm from, I'm a Colombian, and so what have been your favorite countries to go to in South America?
Man, that's a good question. You know what's funny? I haven't been to South America as much as I would have liked.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To be honest with you, like Argentina's an amazing place, but
Awesome.
really an amazing place. But it's funny you said you are Colombian.
I'm Colombian. Yes.
Let me tell you something. When I tell you I know more drug stories, I'm talking. I've been watching. Anytime I hear somebody say Colombia, that's the first thing I think about.
Yeah.
So like Griselda Blanco,
Right.
those kind of man. I just had to say that for a minute. I've never done a podcast with somebody who is actually Colombian. That's dope.
Yeah, man. I'm Colombian. And have you been watching the Netflix Colombian series, Narcos, and all of those kinds of shows?
Yeah.
You're big into the drug dealer shows?
Sure. Me as a kid, like I didn't want to be a drug dealer, but I kind of live the type of life that they live.
Right.
The danger, of course. You know what I'm saying? They fly cars. You know what I'm saying? They had all the chicks at the top. It was just like they had the clean clothes, like they was always. But it was like, bro, he can get picked up tomorrow and never see the light of day again.
Oh, that's for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but no, I've always been like really intrigued by that type of life, or especially the Colombian side of it, because y'all run it like business.
Yeah, man. I mean, from the 80s to about, man, probably like 2000, 2010, I remember that Colombia was the hot spot, and that's what, whenever I told somebody that I was Colombian, that's what they would, automatically bring up. But in the last couple of years, from like El Chapo and the Mexican drug cartel kind of story, that's been taking the attention more. So they're kind of viewing the Mexican cartels more than the Colombian cartels. I remember when I used to travel, it was kind of like when they would see that you were coming from Colombia to the States, they would automatically, man, just like kind of.
You definitely fell under the smuggle category.
That's right. You'd get the random selections every time for, they wanted to see your bags. Yeah,
I watch all but no, it's, respectfully, like, it's very dope. It's like, it's interesting TV. Like, that stuff you won't find out just being over here.
Right. And the crazy thing about Narcos is that even though, you've got the crazy drama and the stories, but a lot of the things that happen on that show are like historic things that are part of Colombia's history. A lot of government is involved with that. So a lot of the country's history and major, things that happened, like, the a plane attack that they, blew up in the air, and all kinds of crazy things that happened have shaped the country to where it's at today. You know,
Yeah,
all that stuff is historic. So you can watch it too to kind of learn a little bit of the history.
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. What are you, focused on these days? I know that, you're with your family, with your kids at school, but as far as your career goes, I know that right now the touring is kind of shut down and all that is slow right now, but what are you into right now as far as projects?
I'm doing a lot of like I'm doing a lot of production that I really didn't like. I've always like dabbed in it, I guess, but I never was able to really focus on production like I really wanted to. So
Right.
like I couldn't really create like I mean I had sounds, like I had a sound, should I say, but it wasn't really where I personally needed it to be. You know what I mean? So I've had a chance to really lock into that, and the feedback I've been getting, it's it's gonna be a lot happening.
Right, right.
You know,
So this
no,
time
go
is
ahead.
really this time is guess I guess has been kind of like a blessing in disguise as far as your career because it's starting to open up more doors because you're dabbling into you know a more different side of your creative just aspect and kind of like bringing out you as opposed to being behind an artist and working on their kind of like aesthetics but actually bringing out your art and working kind of like as a producer as a musician, right? It's kind of like a blessing in disguise, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh man, you know, you have to sometimes for me like we try to be careful what we say because a lot of people it wasn't a blessing for.
Right.
Like it was terrible, you know what I mean? But some people were able to pick up other things that they weren't doing before, or even take things they were doing before to another level. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
For me, yeah, it was definitely a blessing, and I feel bad more so for like the younger generation that was just getting a chance to live that type of life, like far as being on the road. You know, I got
Right.
my little brothers or little guys I talk to, and just homies in general. You know, and it'd be like, man, I was just getting on, like I was, and it's like, wow, yeah, that's. I hate to see that. You know what I mean? But somebody like me, I've been doing it for like 20 years.
Right. Right.
I'm gonna be 40 this year. You know, my first tour, I was 19.
Wow, man, over
My,
20 years.
yeah, my actual first real tour, like not when people say they're going on tour and they go out like a weekend here and like a week. That's not a tour. That's
Right.
just dates. But my
Right.
first tour, yeah, I was 19, and
Where you're out for 2 3 months at a time, a
yeah,
show every 2 3 days.
yeah, that particular tour, it was what 2.5 months, 3 months, and you got to think like the year before I was in high school. I graduated at 18. So
Wow.
next year to be out, it was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Kind of where that's where the ball started rolling. Once I walked on the tour bus and all that, I was done.
Right. Right. Now, is your wife your high school sweetheart, or where did you meet her? If right out of high school you were out traveling, with
Funny is, I
music.
met her right before that tour sometime. Yeah, I was
Wow.
young. Yeah, 19 when we met. I was 18 when we met and 19 when we started talking, I think. So yeah.
Wow. So that's cool because she knew where you were about, and so
Oh
now that
yeah. She literally saw me go from playing in front of I don't know 40 people maybe to 40,000. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
she's definitely been there from
has
like
she has she been able to travel with you at all to many of your dates, or no? She always stays home with the
oh,
kids.
it was more yeah. It was a lot more often when we didn't have kids, of course.
Right.
Definitely gets a little pricey bringing everybody out. So
Right. Right. Right.
try to set something up where she comes out or I come home, or if it's somewhere close, then her and the kids like drive up, or something like that.
Right. This is something very important to me because my wife has been, a rock for my life, and she's been somebody very, very important. I definitely benefited from, having her in my life. And I was glad that she came in at the time that she did. I've only been married for 4 years, 5 years actually.
Oh,
And, what's your advice for musicians out here that have that dream, to be touring, to be, to have this career, but as far as finding a wife, dating, like, do you advise them to not be dating while they're out, just, pursuing their musical career because it'll be a distraction, or do you advise them to find a good woman that's going to be down, ride or die with them, even though they're out, traveling and doing music? Like, what's your advice as far as finding the right woman to marry, being a musician that pursues a career?
for me, man, I think it's, for one, you definitely have to find somebody who understands. You know what I mean? That's the first thing, because if you there's some women, they just won't understand, and then you got some women musicians, their man doesn't understand. You know what I'm saying? So it
Right,
goes,
right.
or singers or whatever. But um, I was lucky because she was able to see me grow, so she saw the hunger. You know what I'm saying? I had, when you go from sitting with somebody, and y'all are in his mom's basement, and he's trying to do a drum machine beat, or you know what I'm saying? You see that to what's happened over the last 20, 21 years. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of like that's understood far as what we had happening. But when you meet somebody later on in life, it's like you almost have to immediately explain to them what it is that they should expect, and basically be on like a, can you handle this?
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, we have to um, take some accountability in certain areas and kind of be like, okay, well, they don't do what I do, so let me try to like walk that fine line. But it has to be a lot of understanding on both parts.
right.
Like,
I know.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, I know that when I knew my wife was the one, obviously I was already praying, asking God to show me who He wanted for my life. But I knew she was it whenever I had to go play at some venue, some church, and I had to bring my own cymbals and my own gear. And she was there, literally carrying the stuff for me, with me, helping me. I'm like, traveling with me,
Oh
sitting
yeah,
there. So I'm like, she's the one, man. She's doing this for me. She's supporting me.
yeah.
And I knew when she was carrying my cymbal bag, I said, that's her.
Different type of, because I mean, not only at that point did you know like she liked you, loved you, or whatever, like, but she respected you for what you was doing. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
because ain't no woman gonna carry your stuff if they don't respect what you got the stuff for. You feel
That's
me?
right.
Yeah, no, man, that's a good situation, man.
Yeah. And she, man, when I was broke, man, when I was 19 years old, 20, I was broke and I had no money, but I had an invite to go play somewhere. She would give me gas money to go play, man. I knew she was the one when she was like that.
And see, that's how. But it's funny, like men have their little ways of knowing if somebody's the one.
Yeah.
And the stupidest thing they do, and you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, you're the," and then she'd be like, "Really? That's what basically got you to sign off on me?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorta, but
It's little things like that.
yeah, that's no, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, man. I just want to take 1 second to thank the sponsors for this podcast. I just want to first, speaking of my wife, I want to thank Baby Lou Boutique, which is a business that sponsors and endorses this podcast in many, many ways. If you see right now on the screen, that's babylouboutique.com. It's baby fashion, clothes for our toddlers,
Oh,
you know, all kinds of boots, shoes for the winter, jackets, sweaters, t-shirts. It's full of stuff. It's on screen right now. If you go to babyluboutique.com and Baby Lou Boutique Co. on Instagram, we've got all kinds of discounts and all kinds of things that for right now, Valentine's Day special coming up. Go see what we got at babyluboutique.com because it's a company that was started this past year. Right now on screen, there's the Instagram page, Baby Lou Boutique Co. This past year, man, my wife and I, we in 2020 we were expecting Luciana, which was our second child, our daughter, our first daughter, and 4 days away from her being born, her delivery was scheduled, and on 4 days before we went to the hospital, and she was no longer there. Her heartbeat was gone, and it rocked our world. But the Lord kind of had that bring other blessings, and one of the things that was, started was Baby Lou Boutique, which He put in our hearts to, start this clothing company to where parents can buy cute clothes for their kids to where they can have memories, build memories, take pictures of their kids, and just really make families get closer together through, buying these clothes, getting these kids to look cute and beautiful. And so, Baby Lou Boutique is something that my wife and I started, and, it's been able to grow to a point where it endorses this podcast. It helps with in many ways, in many more ways than people can even imagine. So I just want to thank Baby Lou Boutique. And secondly, I want to thank AJP Drums, which is the drum company that endorses this channel and me as a drummer. I want to thank Nestor for these amazing drums. AJP Drums based in Nashville. If you go to ajpdrums.com or AJP Drums on Instagram and you use the code JSQuent10, you get 10% off any of your orders, say a full drum set, snare drum, fully custom made drums, any kind of wood, any kind of finish, any kind of hardware, fully custom. And my drums, I love them. They're amazing. I love the tones. So go to ajpdrums.com, AJP Drums on Instagram, JSQuent10, and get 10% off your order. Thank you so much for sponsoring me and this channel and this podcast and everything I do. Thank you for believing in me. Rex, man, thank you for this amazing chat we've had so far. It's already insightful, man. Like I said, you truly have inspired me in more ways than I can say, not only musically, but just I truly follow you in your social media as, just a person who I like your point of views and many things that you share. I do believe that, like, in social media, you really you can't see fully, you can't know a person fully, but certain things you can be inspired by, little things that people share in their social media. And I just want to tell you, man, you've inspired me as a musician, but also as a man, as a father. I see you're great with your kids. You're always there with them. And so it's amazing, to really be able to talk to you today, man. Thank you.
man, look, I appreciate that, man. Because I mean, like I say all the time, man, what we do for a living is only part of who we are, and that's with
That's
any.
right.
If it's a garbage man, a doctor, a lawyer, somebody who works at Fab, I mean, that's part of who you are, But being a good person, that shouldn't be hard, you know.
Right.
I ain't a perfect person, but like, man, just be cool, like, be you, and that's I live by that, man. Just be you and figure whatever your road is, that's what it's gonna be.
That's right.
You're gonna get what you're supposed to get. But like I said, being a good person, and that's why when you hit me, I know our schedules was clashing for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, we gonna figure it out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That
man.
says a lot. That says a lot about you as a person, being able to be open, be available, be willing to share, to speak, to just share thoughts. I know that it's special to have somebody who has your trajectory still be, grounded enough to be open to, speaking with, some guy like me and not be expecting, oh, it's got to be a certain number of followers or stuff like that.
Nah, man, I ain't never been built like that ever. So it's funny, what I mean, because of course you always hear like, well, I mean, I've heard like, oh my God, like Rex is like this, or I don't know, man, he's arrogant, he's this. Like, come on. When I hear somebody, I for sure know that they don't know me.
Right.
But anybody that knows me or actually meets me, like they'll be like, man, he's probably one of the funniest people you ever meet. Like that's all I do is laugh when I'm comfortable. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
This is life, man. We all down here together, so we might as well make it work.
Right. I know. What are some of the things that you really base your values on, to where, hey, humility is key for you, and you don't let, I mean, because you've been at some of the biggest stages in the world. What is it that is your train of thought that we can learn from, that it's like that keeps you humble, keeps you grounded?
To know it can all be taken away.
Wow.
Pretty much. Like I mean, I don't see that's and that's what I said. We're all human. You know what I'm saying? So if something happens to anybody that we know of right now, whatever that's a big enough situation to where they can't do what they were known for. Then now to what do people have to base off your character? Because you were a jerk when you
Yeah.
the man, I guess, or the
Yeah.
woman,
Yeah.
you were a jerk. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
now like, oh yeah, you dealing with that and you can't play? Oh, we good.
Jeez.
So it's like if you that's the simplest way to put it. Like you see a woman who's beautiful or whatever, it's like, yo, listen to me. That can be gone tonight in the next minute. You know what I'm saying? Something happens, you get caught out there, you get whatever. And I don't wish that, but I'm just saying, like, if we all really think about that, man, it
Yeah.
ain't nothing to be over the top about, really.
Yeah, and I think this year showed it to everybody,
Oh,
in the craziest way.
yep.
It
I agree.
just can all, without, the craziest thing can happen that you would never even think about in a million years would happen, and it can take it all away.
Ever. How was it there? Like,
Right here in Georgia, you mean, in Atlanta?
that where you at now?
I live in Cartersville, which is a suburb of Atlanta. I'm like maybe 40 minutes away from downtown Atlanta. And
Man,
Georgia is
now,
kind of like, what'd you say?
has Atlanta shut down at all?
We did way back in like April, March and April. But
Oh,
ever since then, it's been back open. I guess, with politics and everything, with it being, a Republican governor and everything, it's been way more just kind of free. Everybody just look out for yourselves, and
yeah.
definitely nothing like New York or California with the crazy lockdowns. But yeah, man, thankfully my family, even though I got it last week, my wife and son are going through it right now. We've had, nothing too serious, thank God, and I'm still praying for them and watching over them and making sure they're good. But I know a lot of people have struggled really bad with it.
It's serious, to say the least. So,
That's
but
right.
like I told you before, that's good, man. Y'all was able to stay healthy even outside of actually dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? You was able to turn it around. But yeah, man, it's crazy out here.
Yeah, man. Let me ask you this. What is there any kind of, teaser preview you can give us of the projects you're working on, people you're working with, or stuff that we can see, in the near future or in the coming, this year, that you're working on, that you can tell us about?
Well, it's a lot. It's definitely some placements though coming up. I may not be able to tell you who was with, but it'll
Right,
be
right.
I was doing. I played. on the soundtrack for the Aretha Franklin movie
That's awesome.
with Jennifer Hudson. So I think it's that was a different experience, to say the least. Like I've done some stuff in that realm, but this was different. More so, like we were actually playing with the movie itself,
Wow.
which yeah, it was like Jennifer was in one room, I was in one room, like the bass player, organ, basically the rhythm section. So we cut together. Um, so yeah, but it's like we're cutting. She's looking at herself, seeing the part. Like we're replaying what was originally cut.
That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. So it was like the drummer that was on there. They had certain cuts, and he looked like he was playing a certain feel. I would have to play that feel.
Dang, man.
Now, when the camera wasn't on them, but I mean, the Aretha Franklin songs, you got it. I mean, play the song how it is, but
Right, right,
camera wasn't on them, I can just kind of play how I would normally play. But there were certain parts where they showed him, like when he ended the song or how he ended. So that was a big deal. That was a really big deal. Um,
man. That's crazy. So would you want to go that route? Playing for musical soundtracks and all kinds. I mean, movie soundtracks. I mean,
well,
and that kind of stuff. You've been
I
doing
have
that,
not have a problem doing that. I would love to do that. Only because it's something you can, I haven't really done my research on how much that's done in Chicago. But
right?
again, if you're on those lists of calls, it really doesn't matter where you are, to be honest with
Right,
you.
right,
You're in LA or New York, of course. But right now, it doesn't matter where you're from.
right, right.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I'd love to do that.
Man, that's awesome. Rex, I know we're coming up on an hour and I want to respect your time. So, kind of coming to a close, I want to ask you, are there any things that, you might have in your heart that you want to share with drummers that are living it right now, like you said, that are struggling, that are still trying to, pursue this, but it's looking grim, it's looking dark? Do you have anything that you could tell a musician that's struggling that can inspire them to keep going?
For me, man, I would say, like, honestly, man, if you look up to somebody, um, just always remember that at some point, more than likely, they were where you were at some point. So you can look at somebody all day and be like, "Oh my God!" Like to me, because right now we're all on ground zero. Like there's no, to me, there was never anybody better than the next person, but is that because more people are seeing, some people are seeing more, they automatically come across as, "Oh man, they made it." Like here I am, know what struggles people like us have.
Right,
You know what I mean? So, always my thing is just always make sure that you understand that whoever you look up to and you that so-called want to be like, just make sure you know they deal with stuff too. So don't take what you deal with as a, oh man, I ain't gonna never make it, or ain't nobody gonna call me, or nah, it don't have to be like that. But it's on you to change the narrative of what your thought process is. You know what I mean? So
right,
that's why I say just keep striving, keep it moving, and try your best to make sure you work on. This is musicians in general, man. Make sure you work on the things you know you may not be so good at. That way, no matter what you're called for, when that time comes, I play jazz, so I'm gonna just concentrate on that. It's like, okay, what if somebody be like, "Yo, man, you want to play this?" I, you know what I mean? So
right,
I would say take this time, if anything, to like really lock into your craft
right,
more.
right, right.
You know, that's it on that for sure.
And I'd say it's crazy to see that right now a lot of musicians have more time to work on their social media, work on their image as far as their socials, their YouTube channel, their Instagrams, because that's a big part of your music career, because that's where you get seen a lot. And I know you're working a lot on a lot of Instagram, stuff. So you've been posting quite a bit more now than usual because you get the time to work on your own stuff.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's really fun doing that because I mean, a lot of those videos, like I may edit myself, majority of them.
Wow.
So I think if it's only like 2 videos that I didn't edit myself, but that's stuff I used to do back when I was on YouTube heavy. But that was like 2004, 2005. Like, man, we was kids. But you get so busy, you kind of just like do away with it. Like, I get back to it when it's time. But then you actually see people that are doing their thing on YouTube, like you, like others, like. It's just one of the things like, nah, man, you can, it's a good situation over there. But now, with times being, you may as well figure it out because I don't know what's going to be moving no time soon.
Right, man. Well, Rex, thank you so much for your time, man. I really do appreciate it. It's got to happen again, man. We got to have you on again. You've shared so much cool stuff during this interview, man, and I just want to thank you for your time, brother.
Oh, man, no problem, man. Thanks for having me, man. We'll do it.
For sure, everybody, please go follow Rex on Instagram, Facebook, his YouTube channel. I'm going to leave all the links down in the description. And don't forget, in a few days, I'm going to have all the Spanish subtitles so all my people in Spanish can listen and enjoy all the stories that Rex shared with us tonight. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and put that notification bell so y'all can be notified when we got new video out, new podcast, new content that's going to be coming out soon. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Rex, again, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one. Muchas gracias, mi gente. Voy a estar compartiendo subtítulos en español en unos días. Tengo que escribirlos muy pronto, pero en unos días van a poder también ver el podcast y la conversación con subtítulos en español. No olviden suscribirse, dejar su like, dejar sus comentarios. Gracias a Félix, gracias a todas las personas. Isaac Valenzuela, mi hermano, bendiciones. Jesús David Avilés en Colombia. Y muchas personas que han estado comentando, que están aquí siempre apoyando. Muchas gracias. Los quiero un montón, les doy un gran abrazo, Dios los bendiga y nos vemos en la próxima.